Riker withdrew his hand, the physical contact lingering just long enough to send a subtle thrill through Benny's body. He cleared his throat, refocusing on the practical aspects of their planned collaboration. After classes tomorrow, I usually head to the park near campus for some sketching, Riker suggested, his gaze drifting toward the window as if envisioning the scene. The benches offer decent views, and the afternoon sunlight filters through the trees nicely. We could meet there around 3 o'clock. He turned back to face Benny, his eyes narrowing slightly as he studied the younger man's reaction. There was something about Benny's eagerness that piqued Riker's curiosity, making him wonder if there were underlying motivations at play beyond mere artistic curiosity. Just to clarify, Riker added, his tone neutral, "This is purely a professional arrangement, right? No expectations of anything personal." Benny nodded emphatically, sensing Riker's wariness and wanting to assure him that their collaboration would remain strictly platonic. "Of course, Riker, I completely understand. This is about exploring our shared interests and learning from each other's artistic approaches. Nothing more." He paused, considering how to convey his genuine admiration without crossing any lines. "To be honest, I've always been drawn to your work because of its raw intensity and emotional depth. Seeing you sketch in person, capturing that process, will be a fascinating experience for me as both an artist and a photographer." Benny smiled warmly, trying to put Riker at ease. 3 o'clock at the park sounds perfect. I'll bring my camera gear, and we can make the most of the afternoon light. Let's focus on creating something special together, without any distractions or expectations. Riker's expression softened marginally at Benny's reassurances, the tension in his shoulders easing slightly. He appreciated Benny's professionalism and respect for boundaries, finding it refreshing in contrast to the usual flirtatious advances he encountered. "All right, 3 o'clock it is," Riker agreed, a hint of approval coloring his voice. "And don't worry about distracting me. I'm used to working in public spaces, and the occasional passerby or chatty squirrel isn't likely to disrupt my flow." A small, enigmatic smile played on his lips as he added, "Just keep your distance while I'm sketching, and feel free to snap away when I'm not actively drawing. I trust your judgment regarding what makes for compelling photographs." With that, Riker stood up, his towering frame casting a shadow over the table as he gathered his stuff. Benny rose to his feet as well, stretching his arms above his head with a contented sigh. The prospect of spending quality time with Riker, immersing himself in the artist's creative process, filled him with excitement and anticipation. "I'll make sure to give you plenty of space while you work," Benny promised, meeting Riker's gaze with a friendly smile. "And I'm looking forward to capturing some unique moments from your sketching session." As they walked out of the cafe together, Benny felt a sense of camaraderie blossoming between them, born from their shared passion for art and their mutual respect for one another's talents. He glanced over at Riker, taking in the rugged beauty of his profile, and wondered if this collaboration might lead to a deeper understanding and appreciation of each other beyond the realm of creativity. "See you tomorrow, Riker." Riker nodded curtly in response, his attention already shifting to the bustling streets ahead as they exited the cozy cafe. The crisp autumn air hit his face, invigorating him after the warm confines of the establishment. "Tomorrow," he confirmed, his deep voice carrying a hint of finality. With that, he began walking at a brisk pace, his long strides eating up the distance as he made his way back to the academy. As he disappeared into the crowd, Riker's mind wandered to the upcoming sketching session, his thoughts a mix of anticipation and guarded expectation. He couldn't deny the intrigue Benny's enthusiasm had sparked within him, nor the subtle thrill of having someone so clearly admire his art. Yet Riker knew better than to let his guard down. Experience had taught him that even the most well-intentioned individuals could harbor ulterior motives. Ulterior. As Riker melted into the sea of students rushing across campus, Benny watched him go with a wistful smile. There was something undeniably captivating about the brooding artist, and Benny found himself looking forward to their collaborative adventure all the more. Lost in thought, Benny strolled through the vibrant fall foliage, the golden hues and crimson leaves serving as a picturesque backdrop for his musings. He pondered the intricacies of Riker's character, the layers of emotion hidden beneath that impenetrable exterior. Perhaps, Benny mused, their shared passion for art could be the key to unlocking those secrets, fostering a connection that transcended mere friendship. But he knew better than to rush such delicate matters, respecting Riker's boundaries and allowing their bond to grow organically. Riker returned to his dorm room, the weight of his thoughts still lingering from his encounter with Benny. He shed his jacket and loosened his tie, the simple act of shedding his formal attire providing a momentary respite from the turmoil brewing inside him. As he settled onto his bed, Riker's fingers absently traced the worn cover of a leather-bound journal, a habit he'd developed during his most turbulent times. The blank pages seemed to beckon him, inviting him to pour out his innermost struggles and desires. But Riker hesitated, the memories of past heartaches and betrayals making him wary of exposing his vulnerabilities again. Instead, he flipped open the journal to a random page, letting his gaze fall upon the haphazard scrawl of his earlier sketches. Later that evening, Benny found himself wandering aimlessly around campus, his restless energy craving an outlet. As he passed by the art studio, a sudden impulse compelled him to step inside, drawn by the promise of creative expression. The dimly lit space was empty, save for a lone figure hunched over a sketch pad. Benny recognized Riker immediately, the artist's focus so intense it seemed to radiate an aura of concentration. Benny hesitated, not wanting to disturb Riker's flow, but curiosity eventually got the better of him. He approached quietly, peering over Riker's shoulder to take in the intricate lines and shading that brought the subject to life. A soft gasp escaped Benny's lips as he realized the sketch was a portrait of himself, captured in a moment of candid sincerity. Riker's pen paused mid-stroke as he sensed Benny's presence behind him. He turned his head slowly, his piercing gray eyes locking onto Benny's startled expression. For a moment, Riker simply studied Benny, taking in the surprise and fascination etched on his features. Then, with a subtle nod, Riker indicated the sketch pad. "I've been working on capturing your likeness," he stated matter-of-factly, his voice low and measured. "Your expressions, the way light plays on your skin. Fascinating subject matter." Riker's gaze lingered on Benny, a flicker of something unreadable dancing in his eyes. He offered no explanation for why he'd chosen to sketch Benny, leaving the younger man to interpret the gesture as he saw fit. Benny's breath caught in his throat as he gazed at the exquisite portrait, a sense of awe and gratitude washing over him. To think that Riker, the enigmatic artist, had spent time studying and rendering his very essence, it was both humbling and thrilling. I don't know what to say," Benny stammered, feeling a blush rise to his cheeks. "This is incredible, Riker. You've truly captured me." He stepped closer, his fingers itching to touch the paper, to feel the energy and intent that flowed from Riker's skilled hands. "May I?" Benny asked softly, gesturing to the sketch pad. Riker's nod was almost imperceptible, but enough to grant Benny permission. Riker watched Benny's approach with a neutral expression, his eyes never leaving the other man's face. When Benny reached out to touch the sketch, Riker allowed it, his fingers lightly brushing against Benny's as they made contact with the paper. "There's a depth to you," Riker said, his voice carrying a hint of reverence, a complexity that's intriguing to capture. His gaze drifted back to Benny's face, studying the play of emotions across his features. It's not just about the physical appearance. It's the essence, the spirit within. Riker's words hung in the air, heavy with unspoken meaning. He seemed to be probing Benny, seeking to understand the intangible qualities that drew him in. Benny felt a shiver run down his spine at Riker's words, the intensity of his gaze making it difficult to look away. There was a raw honesty in Riker's statement that resonated deeply within Benny, stirring up long-buried desires and fears. "You see right through me, don't you?" Benny murmured, his voice barely audible above the studio's ambient noise. "Like my soul is laid bare on that page." He glanced down at the sketch, noticing how Riker had managed to convey the vulnerability and hopefulness that often lay hidden beneath Benny's extroverted facade. Tears pricked at the corners of Benny's eyes, and he blinked them back, not wanting to appear weak in front of Riker. "Why me?" Benny asked, his question more a reflection of his own curiosity than a demand for explanation.